Hello and welcome back to a breakdown of Imperator Rome Dev Diary. And this one, it's number 102, and we're going to be going over what is some exciting news, I think. There's a whole new UX, UI thing going on with Imperator Rome, which has been much requested, much asked for, and I, for one, am very excited for the future of Imperator Rome. So, in last week's Dev Diary 101, this is 102, they sort of teased a little bit about what Jiroro here, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but yeah, they sort of teased that there's a big commitment right now at Paradox to get, Imperator right, and a lot of that involves the UI and the UX. So it looks like she's been working on, she's been with the Stockholm team since November 2019, but we haven't heard anything about what she's doing in that entire time. So she starts it out, but with a little bit of an introduction. She's in Stockholm. Nice to meet you. Yes, nice to meet you too. So what is UX? Right, so there's a funny little meme here where devs frequently think that, the users will know how to use their systems, which are designed to be fairly intuitive, and then the end users don't really get it. Yeah. So sometimes UX and UI get mixed up. The UX is the user experience. Okay, so there's a distinction here between user experience and UI, which is user interface, right? So the UX is more of a holistic term to talk about these things. Now the UX, the user experience, designers at Paradox are focused on grouping and presenting information, taking the player's perspective into account. We want to make approachable games, design experience with a flow that feels intuitive and natural, and sometimes we get it wrong. Lol. So thank you always for your feedback. Are concepts introduced properly? Is information achievable? What is the player's expectation in this game? In this system, this game? Are colors, icons, or words used in a consistent way throughout all corners of the game? We analyze and put things into their designated place in the UI, using the gorgeous bits and pieces that our UI artists created. So sure, I do UI. However, I don't create the color schemes, ornaments, or textures of our UI. I design the experience the player will have in the UI. So that's an interesting distinction that Jiroro is drawing here. So she doesn't make the UI, but she works with the UI in order to mold it sort of into a desirable UX final product. Okay, so the UI rework is obviously a big part of the UX rework. So the UI rework, people have been asking for it basically since release. Imperator Rome's UI is famously messy, and getting it cleaned up, getting that to be more intuitive would just be fantastic. I cannot wait. Ever since I heard that this was happening, I couldn't wait. All right, so it's finally happening, people. The UI rework has been Jiroro's main focus since she started working on Imperator. Me and my little Stockholm-based strike team have been working away from the shadows for a while now. We wanted to take our time to truly figure out our new direction and identify some pain points that needed attention. To summarize, my UX mission is declutter and reorganize the UI for the whole game without reducing the amount of information you can access. That is a tall order. We'll read that again. The mission is declutter and reorganize the UI for the whole game without reducing the amount of information that we, the players, can access in the game. Which is also, as messy as the UI is, there's as much, valuable information that you might want to know in the game. There's tons of information, and to make it all more, accessible and intuitive to read would be just phenomenal. Right. So that is a tall order here. If we removed core parts of the core game, it wouldn't be Imperator Rome anymore. Sounds like a fun challenge, huh? I don't know about fun. Sounds like a challenge. Sounds like a challenge for sure. Okay, some high priorities were more art. Yes, I agree. Okay, I don't want to scroll down. I don't want to scroll down too far. Okay, more art. I agree. This game needs a ton more art. This game just needs more flavor in general. And one thing about the classical era, antiquity, is, the distinctive look of things, whether art or otherwise. Things have a distinctive look, and it would be great to see more of that, and it would be great to see more of that as they differ from region to region. We have a lot of archaeological evidence. We actually do know quite a bit about how things look throughout the entire map of Imperator Rome in the time period historically. You know, there are definitely some areas more than others, right? Like Northern Europe is definitely not that much archaeological evidence compared to some other locations on the map, but by and large we know a lot. It would be great to see some of that history turned into assets in the form of art. Okay, let art take up more space to enhance the feeling of immersion. Yeah, art is a really great way to immerse the player in the game, of course. So give unique flavors and give more art, and that goes just a long way towards immersion. Okay, yeah. So, and you know, the goal always at the forefront is not let gameplay or functionality suffer in the pursuit of better UI or better UX. Right. So she also wants visual consistency. Introduce a visual language that makes a distinction between what's clickable and what's not. For example, you could use an editor, I guess. For example, tabs and headers to group information. Right, and now that 2.0 is announced, I can finally get into some details with you all. Small disclaimer is, of course, that this is under development as we speak, and the final result may look slightly different from the screenshots. Let's start with probably the busiest window of the game, Province and Territory UI. Okay, here we go. So let's take a peek now at some of what we're working with. Yes, Province and Territory UI, super messy. Yeah, let me look at all this information. And all of it is valuable. You know, since I'm a bit of a veteran of this game, I know what all of this stuff is, but it took me a very, very long time. Well, I don't know how long it took me, but it took me a while to sort of get all of this down. There's so much information to be had here, and yeah, we'll see what they do with this. Okay, you know this view, and this is interesting too. This cutaway view. I mean, this is just like a skeletal version of this, right? So there's nothing different, right? Yeah, seems so. Right. Okay, you know this view. Okay, what I did first was to analyze what we have here. What does everything mean? What belongs to what? I usually create flat, uncolored vector icons, low fidelity, to avoid getting distracted by styling at this stage. That's good. After identifying some problems that I wanted to solve, it's drag and drop time. Grouping the pieces to add some structure. I ended up with a wireframe like this. Okay. So, what do we have here? Province of Apolloniatis, city of Hatra and Apolloniatis. Right. So, what do we have here? So we have buildings here. It looks like this is under construction. Okay, so maybe these are new buildings. This icon, because these are incomplete. These are whoa. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what this is. So what? Are there 6 forts, or should we just not care too much about these icons? Not sure. Cool, but it looks good. Right, and this is the buildings tab. This is the pops tab, and then this is a different tab. Cool. Okay, and through some sort of dark, mysterious magic, it turns into this latest version, implemented, usually by Arrow himself in-game. Okay, so this sort of skeletal version becomes this now at this point, which is great. Right, so I was confused about the buildings tab. This says 1 out of 1. This says 13 out of 16. 13 out of 16. So yeah, these can't really make sense of these numbers. But it looks like in the full version you have 1 out of 1. So you have room for just one building. This is a settlement. Wait a minute. This is a different... Right. Okay, well, it makes sense I couldn't make sense of these numbers because this is a different location than this right here. Yeah. So they're not the same spot, although we can sort of make sense of things. So these are the resources. There's an import tab. Here's to do those provincial investments. Building tab, pops tab. Soldiers tab, perhaps? And then all the other information's down here. So unrest, the food, the loyalty, the produced product, civilization value, which now looks like it's, you can tell like what the max is. Culture and religion. Right, and there's also a Great Wonders tab, which as we know is going to be part of 2.0. You'd be able to build and design your own wonders. So you're going to 2 trade routes here, and the entire province, I guess, is making 1.97 gold per month. Ta-da! We decided to have a designated color for buttons in the UI rework. Designated color for buttons. Okay, so so should we move to the next stage here? I guess she means this white here. Right. Well, let's move up. Ta-da! We decided to have a designated color for buttons in the UI rework. Everything clickable is now teal colored in some way. Teal colored. Right. So they're not. My mistake. Okay. So she's talking about this. Right. She's talking about this image here. So everything clickable is teal. That's actually really cool. So everything clickable is now teal colored in some way with the exception of flags. Right, so if something's teal colored, you know you can click on it. If something is not teal colored, you probably can't, unless it's a flag. That's what I'm getting. Now there's a teal outline here, which would indicate to me that that it's clickable. Change something out, maybe the governor or some such thing. Yeah, so if there's a teal border, I would guess that it's clickable. Right, these are all clickable. This is province investment. So teal filled in, teal border, teal colored in some way. Good stuff. In headers, buttons are white since it blends in better than teal. Okay, that's cool. In headers, buttons are white. Right, so that makes sense. In headers, this is the header, right? That's what she means. Oh, this is teal. Well, whatever. Looks good. Okay, in province and territory UI, we still have the province tab on top, territory on bottom. The 2 sections get a clear separation now with our bolder headers. Okay, I see what they mean. Yeah. So the province heading is up here, and territory is down here. Right. So the province of Babylonia, the settlement of Idu, on the bottom. The 2 sections get a clear separation, right. Various things have been cleaned up and aligned, like the progress bars. Province income is now combined into one value. Oh, good. You can still find commerce, tax, income separately in the tooltip. Trade goods get more space than before, too. That's really good. It doesn't take very long for your city, especially a capital city, to have so many of these trade goods. These cards stack, and it's to the point where you just can't at all make out what you have without scrolling over them individually and having them pop up individually. So if if you can maintain, if we can just see the trade goods that we have without them being obscured by other trade goods, that would be pretty cool. Still waiting for a complete trade rework, but we're not going to get too caught up in that when they're giving us good stuff in this one right here. Okay, so where were we? The terrain image is used in a bigger format to bring more focus to that. On the right side, we have new illustrations to show the territory status. This one's the settlement image. And of course, the tabs, pops, buildings, and tactical. Right, the third tab, they're using the word tactical to categorize it. Cool. So let's, okay, the terrain image. Yeah, this definitely helps. I mean, just this little bit. This isn't even that much. Just this little bit helps tremendously with immersion. Now, I feel like this is a desert type thing that we're gonna be dealing with. It doesn't feel like a city at all. If anything, there's some people living out in the countryside type thing. So, yeah, I mean, I really appreciate this type of stuff. We want bigger assets in terms that help immersion. That's really what we want. It's really what the players want, I think. All right. Moving on to the top bar navigation, we scrap that and move the buttons to the side. Yes. Now these old buttons here, they are cool. They look cool. but they're a little counterintuitive, especially because, you know, unless you know exactly, like, is this Mars, I guess? Like, this one's intuitive, this would be military. The rest of them, why would any of them really shout out at you that they are the category that they are? So, you know, it's something, it's just sort of like learned rote that this, like, this yellow one is religion, for example, and the green one is economy, at least for me. I don't know about you. But I'm glad that they changed it up to something simpler like this. This is what they're doing. So these top buttons are gone. And they've been reimagined on the left-hand side here like this. And in a much simpler form, but in a much more intuitive form. And now you can kind of tell, more or less, what you're clicking on. Right, so the gods and the old buttons are extremely beautiful, but it was hard to remember which god represented which UI. That's exactly what I just said. We went for a flat icon approach instead. I want players to quickly recognize icons for the UI they want to open. I also changed the order slightly. It makes sense like this, I think. The opened UI's icon will highlight to tell you where you are. Another UI that got a makeover is Nation Overview. Oh, good. Good. Yes, this screen definitely needed a huge makeover. Right, Nation Overview. Antigone Kingdom, Heritage of Antigonus, Nation Decisions. Are these new decisions? What are this? Restore Lorien and Ironworks? Imperial Ambition. Okay, to ensure the strength of Antigonus' new eastern kingdom and the freedom of the Greeks, Cassandros occupiers in Corinthos must be cast out. Our southern gains kept safe from jealous Ptolemaic schemes, and the new capital of Antigonea defended from Seleucid ambition. Right. So this sounds like the initial, like, requirement at the beginning of the game if you're playing as the Antigonid kingdom. You have to take Corinthos from Macedon, basically, or lose your empire. So they've turned that into a decision, it looks like. And, yeah, I welcome that. I hope there's more of this type of thing for... Oh, they apply... Oh, okay, sure. They apply rewards. They apply rewards for this. So if you pull this off now, you get provincial loyalty. Was this always the case? I don't think so. Maybe it was. You gain Defender of Greece. Alright, but anyway, it's a new screen. You didn't click the enact button before. It was just something you had to accomplish before Antigonus the One-Eyed dies. Right, for 1.5, I decided to move decisions into the Nation Overview. Right, that was a good choice, I think. Decisions are now here in the Nation Overview. And, right, they weren't always there. Here it is in the new UI for 2.0. Now, you select a decision to read more about it and enact it with a separate button. Okay? And, oh, you will be able to access Nation Overview by clicking the big nation flag in the corner. The big nation flag in the corner. This one. This one here, I guess, she's talking about. Cool. So many of us try to do this all the time. Yes, we tracked it in usability tests, and I've seen your comments about it. So I added that for the UI rework. That's fantastic. We also gave the outliner some love. The outliner definitely gets messy and needs some love. Ooh, Great Wonders, Gardens of Babylon. Cool. That makes me excited. I definitely like this new look for the characters with their backgrounds and stuff. There's our old friend Seleucus. And here's our old friend Antigonus. Right. The outliner has gotten a more compact look. It's slimmer. Information is tightly packed within it to avoid too much scrolling. Yes, too much scrolling. Definitely way too much scrolling with the outliner. I'm glad that they focus on trimming that down. Right. Information is tightly packed within it to avoid too much scrolling. Some added consistency for the button hiding or showing the outliner and queued events. Right. Okay, let's move on to character UI. Right. So this looks really good. Okay, family and relationships. Schemes. Right. So you can click on, I guess this is the wife here, and then her screen pops up. Yeah, I mean, this does look slightly more intuitive. So what do we have here? We have the wife, we have the two, I think these are two kids. Siblings? Does he have siblings? These must be rivals, right? This is, This is Ptolemy Soter, I think. Well, I'm not sure. It would be nice if they... I mean, family relationships, it's great, especially for family, but it's great that they have this right here at your fingertips. I mean, maybe there should be labels, though. Because these images are not intuitive. I do like the screen. I do like the screen. Okay, this view has gotten some of that art boost I mentioned as one of my main goals for the rework. I felt that characters should have more of a personal touch to them. Yes! Characters feel way too generic. Okay. In fact, we have added a series of backgrounds for character portraits for this update and in the detailed character UI. Yeah, they went over that last week in the dev diary. Yeah, so you can go look at that if you want. As well as in the nested tooltip card. You see the full width version of the image. The backgrounds provide flavor and contextual information. Apart from terrain images based on the character's location and government-related backgrounds, we also have specific images behind characters who are dead or imprisoned. Okay? See an example of that, or what? Okay, that's all for me this week. I appreciate all your suggestions, all your feedback on last week's UI rework reveal. Not to mention improvement suggestions here and on other platforms before that. Your comments and suggestions influence my work, and that's a really cool position for me to be in. With UX design, I truly believe there needs to be a back and forth. Thank you, G-Ro-Ro. But wait! Before we wrap up completely, Ario has something to share. Okay, so that's it for the UX team, and here's Ario, the game director, right? Hi all! Usual faction, we can't leave a dev diary without a small teaser of something new, without telling you what it is, naturally. Thus, with no further comment, I'll leave this WIP window here. Okay. So this is a naval battle between the Antigonid Kingdom and Egypt, clearly. And the Antigonids appear to be winning, despite having fewer ships, because they have better ships. I don't know. I mean, this has clearly been reworked from an aesthetic perspective, but I don't know if there's anything new mechanically here. Everything else looks the same. I mean, besides, it looks reworked, of course. It looks great. It looks great. I can't tell if there are any mechanical changes in here. If you can spot it, please, let me know in the comments below. And that's going to be it for this week's Dev Diary. So please, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, and let me know what you think of the upcoming Imperator Rome 2.0. I'd love to hear what you think. And until the next one, bye-bye.